No.
did we start
Yeah. Welcome.
to...
Pop,
We've done this before.
but we failed. And now you've ruined it again.
Failure is funny, Zach.
Well, obviously. That's why Gwen Stacy's bashing her head against the
I
ground
put
made
too
me
much
laugh.
liquor in this.
Trying to find a place where I can cut this in where we can start by saying, we just saw Spider-Man. There are spoilers ahead. Be ye warned.
Yeah.
Like the old sea
No,
captain.
go no further if you have not watched the movie yet. This whole episode is going to be a landmine of spoilers, so go no further. But I think we were some of the last people in the world to watch the movie, so
Not really. It's only been out for 3 days.
Yeah, there's one. Yeah.
everyone went and saw this movie. I don't think you understand.
No, there's still
especially
people-
when people are listening to this.
There's still people seeing it like right now.
That's weird.
Because we're not the last showing. Of
Why
it.
did they bother showing it more than like the first 3 days? Because everyone's going to go see it the first 3 days.
Yeah, if you haven't, you've already got it spoiled to you from YouTube.
Exactly.
Because YouTube is like a terrible place to be. I got a problem with people.
Pop culture unboxing. Matt, Ryan, Zach. You didn't see who I pointed to, but you know the voices by now. Episode 109. Spider-Man No Way Home. Spoilers. 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 Ryan.
What?
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Zach.
Matt?
Spoilers.
Matt, I have a question.
Ryan. Zach has a question.
Zach, go ahead and ask your question to Matt.
Are we going to talk about some potential spoilers in this show?
Ryan. Zach wants to know if we're going to talk about potential spoilers in the show.
Let me go back to the file cabinet real quick. Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Oh, are there going to be like small spoilers or like big spoilers?
Are they going to be like small spoilers or like big spoilers?
Hold, please.
Hold, please.
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be pretty big spoilers. I
It
hope
looks
you
like
could
it's
hear,
going to be pretty big spoilers.
I hope you could hear the keyboard in that. That only works.
We'll find out.
So what you're telling me is that if I haven't seen the movie yet, I should turn off this podcast.
Yes.
Never come back until next Monday.
We're going to talk about Pop with Spider-Man every episode for the rest of the time.
until next Monday.
Well, you heard us, Dally. If you
So-
haven't seen it, don't listen yet.
Dallas,
What do you rate it? 8 out of 9 or 10 out of 10?
9 out of 10? Is that what you asked?
Out of
That
10.
is
What do you
what
rate
you're-
it? What-
I thought you
out
said,
of 10.
how did you rate it? 10 out of 10. I was like, thank you for telling me what my opinion would be.
I haven't yet gone and seen what Reddit
Matt's
was
over
going to
here
think about this movie.
mansplaining to everybody.
I was gonna say I'd give it a 9 out of 10. There was a handful of things that I wanted to see different that I thought were kind of cheap.
Stopping you there. What do you, out of 10?
9.
Out of 10. 9 out of 10. 9.5 even. All right. Thank you all for listening. This has been our Spider-Man No Way Home spoiler cast.
Bro, I can go to bed now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Heyo.
See you later.
The spoiler is we rated the movie.
Who wants to start? Okay, I'll do it.
I was gonna say, like, we all know what's
F
really
it.
happening.
I'll go
here.
into it.
I'm doing it live.
You're going to
F
chew
it,
right
we'll
into
do
the
it
mic.
live. I'm going to chew right into the mic. These cookies are really good.
I'm sure-
But they're like dry.
I
Boy, they're
guarantee
dry.
you I won't get rid of that in post, but I'm going to be miserable listening to it while I edit. And everyone will be miserable listening to it in the show.
Anyway,
I'm miserable listening to it right now.
how do you want me to do these spoilers? Do you want to talk about what we had problem and go with the spoilers? Or do you want me to start how this film starts out? What I
Let's
like?
start from the beginning.
All right, boy. It's a long list. Are you
And
ready?
then give details.
I'll
until
just
we get
do
to
it in the
end.
order of how they appear. Right. That's what I'm going to do and how it works. So first, obviously, film opens up with like the last thing we saw with Mysterio, like revealing Peter's identity. I really like that for all of the actors in the background, they kept that pretty samey throughout the whole thing. Like it's literally the same costumes in the same position. I love the fact that there's a lady in this. Like it's very traditional to what exactly would happen if like a real person became a real Spider-Man in the real world, got unmasked. There's a lady that reaches for MJ and Peter like goes to put his hand up to stop her and she hits his hand and she just goes to the crowd like, Spider-Man hit me. Spider-Man hit me, guys. Look, Spider-Man's a monster. He hit me. As she's the one trying to pull his mask off.
Yeah.
Love that little detail.
Whatever happened to he's just a kid.
Yeah, I've got a lot of questions about what was that
No older
one
than my
dude?
son.
Well, he murdered someone
when
in this universe.
Spider-Man and MJ tried to like swing away. I want to know what that one dude was going to do when he like dived over the car to try
Yeah, I
to
do
like,
wanna know
catch
what
his
his plan
leg.
was.
It's like, okay, you got to go swinging with him. Is that what it is?
I did like those camera shots of the camera right on his face as they're swinging. That was pretty cool.
Well, it was great because MJ was holding on to a non-fake Spider-Man the whole time. It was great.
I love all of the
yeah.
Did you guys not pick that up in the
What?
Tobey Maguire version?
what?
In the Tobey Maguire version, MJ is holding on to Spider-Man, but it's clearly a fake Spider-Man, and her
Oh,
hair
yeah.
is going in the wrong direction.
In the first,
yeah.
That's why-
yeah, in the first one, like
So I
when you
said that.
There's at one point the camera shifts a bit, and you can see where it doesn't have the left arm. So like it's just a fake cast of Tobey Maguire's like right arm and head, and it's
Yep.
just staring constantly.
Amazing.
To the
Yeah, it's like slightly tilted up.
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
I love throughout this film there are so many like callbacks to like crappy memes that we found. So like at one point, excuse me. At one point, Norman Osborn, he has a huge role in this film. Surprisingly, like he's kind of like the
Yeah.
main baddie. I love that at one
You're
point.
already out of order.
I know I'm out of order, but I'm talking about all the memes that happened. So
Oh, I thought we were gonna give the movie beat by beat.
I'm
but-
gonna get there. I love that. At one point, Norman says, he says to Peter, he says, I'm something sort of a scientist myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we even get one of the best quotes from the film, where he goes, "Can Spider-Man come out to play?" And it's all at the Statue of Liberty. I really like that. Like they go into more detail. Like they really give the villains a very satisfying ending
Yeah.
to their story, to the point. The one thing I kind of wish that they did in this is at the end we got to see what all three Spider-Men were doing, like where all those characters ended up. Because all we go is off that they just ended up back in their world, but better, like they're cured of their problems that left them in the other Spider-Man films. Also, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are in this,
Yeah.
as we've all expected.
They-
I told somebody at work when I was going to see this film, I was like, "Do you think they're in it?" I was like, "Well, I don't know, but I definitely think it's a weird choice if you're all of the executives helping write this film, and you say, so we're allowed to pull the villains, but let's not pull the heat." Like it's like,
Yeah.
Now, and I told him, I was like, now it's very possible they're not in it. It's just a very weird choice not to
Yeah.
put them in it. It's kind of like that's gonna help put people in like.
Okay, is it bad that one of the favorite outcomes of this movie for me is that Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox, is now Daredevil again?
Yes,
And this movie confirmed it. Like, it's not just he's not Matt Murdock,
he's Daredevil.
he's Daredevil.
I like the fact that
And now we got Kingpin and Hawkeye. Hawkeye spoilers, by the way.
right. It's so strange. It was a weird. I almost kind of wish that that Kevin Feige and them never said anything, because if you remember, like.
Yeah, I don't think he
The
said
film-
it. I thought it was the person he was with in that interview.
No, Kevin Feige says it.
Oh.
And that would have been I think that was the Monday before. Actually, I think it was the week before, like the opening week. So 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
He in an interview he's like he explains that Charlie Cox is going to come back. If Charlie Cox comes back to the MCU, he will be playing Daredevil. We know that. When and where that's going to be. And I was expecting, okay, Kingpin's in Hawkeye. We're probably going to see him in Hawkeye. But when we only saw Kingpin, and at this point, there's still one more episode of Hawkeye to come out.
Yeah.
So it still could happen. When Charlie Cox was sat down and he's talking, I was like, that's an interesting choice. It's weird that they didn't wait till after, after he shows up before them to announce that he'd be back.
yeah.
The other thing that I really would back to, like, now I'm thinking about with Charlie Cox's character. I love the brick scene.
Yeah.
Where he just catches the brick and like, how'd you do that? He's like, I'm a very good lawyer.
Wasn't that his excuse several times on the show?
Yeah.
Is he would do like superhuman stuff like that. We're a really good lawyer.
I tell you what, man, I really want to watch Daredevil again.
I do too.
I'm
I really do.
I'm intrigued on Daredevil again.
That is a great line there.
If they do more of him, if they do a movie with him, they absolutely have to do one of those long shots that show's famous for. Did you ever watch it?
No.
I've definitely
I watched
decided.
the original Daredevil, but I didn't
So
watch.
I hope that
The sh-
that means the rest of the Defenders come back.
That would be dope. The show Daredevil is famous for every season. It has one long shot where you see an entire fight all in one take.
That's awesome.
The famous moment of it is like the first, before he even has the Daredevil costume, when he's in his like that black bandana outfit. At one point, the first time we ever see him actually fight, it's a long hallway thing where he goes down a hallway and there's all these multiple doors and you just see him beat the crap out of her, and it's one long take.
And you can see
And
him
he
get real
fights
gassed.
like 20 fit. Yeah, like he gets beat up, but he
That's
also
awesome.
it's so cool.
Yeah.
I highly recommend
The
you watch
prison
that.
one is dope.
The prison
in
one's
the
really
third
cool.
season.
Yeah.
James Bond did a good one of those.
Yeah,
No Time to Die.
I
There's
I never watched the new James.
It's
Bond
really
films.
good.
I have not watched.
There's
the new ones.
there's a scene around the middle where he fights his way up a stairwell.
No Time
and
to
he-
Die is the new one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He fights his way up a stairwell, and the whole thing is one shot, and it's really cool.
Oh. So you saw the new one? Mm-hmm. Is it? So it's good. Is it good? Cool. Not. I just.
Yeah,
That
it's-
was it.
it's
I
dope.
wish I didn't know that before we started this one.
It's a good final film for him because
I
it's
know.
confirmed to be his last one. They
Good.
confirmed that before it came out.
Oh, good.
But
okay.
yeah, it's a good send off.
Yeah. It's so very weird. I hope the Defenders are coming back. I
That
would
would be
love.
cool.
I would be. I mean,
Are they going to go back and canonize all the Defenders related shows?
There's-
or do you think they'll retread them? Because I want Punisher. I need
I want-
Punisher back.
well, yeah. There's only one character of the Defenders I want gone. I don't want to exist. And that's Danny Rand. Like
Iron Fist sucks.
Iron Fist sucks, dude. Like that. He is the worst casting. Just because nothing about him screams to me that that's the dude that can beat up everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't like the Iron Fist.
Zach,
Me.
what were your thoughts on the movie Spider-Man No Way Home, starring Tom Holland, Zendaya, Jacob Gilliman, or whatever his last name is?
Gillian.
Huh?
Gilman.
Gil-
I think actually is what it is.
Marissa
I'll check that.
Tomei, Jon Favreau, Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, Jamie Foxx,
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield,
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire, Mr. Ditkovich,
Yeah.
Charlie
Charlie Cox.
Charlie Cox, Sandman, Lizard Person,
I think they.
James Jonah Jameson Sr.,
Oh no. Jason Jameson.
I have to admit, I
Billy
was wrong.
Maguire,
Billy Maguire. Billy
You know what I really
Adam
wish.
Sandler.
You know, I can forgive them for not doing the 3 Spider-Men pointing at each other. I would have gladly given that up if we would have got to see 3 J. Jonah Jamesons pointing at each other going,
That would have been cool.
I think would have been really great. Just I don't know how they would have done it, but to have a 3-man Spider-Man dance, the like Tobey Maguire. did.
Oh yeah, we didn't get that at all, did we?
I like how they just throw that
Cool.
on the room.
No, I think, to be honest with you, I think the movie did really well. I actually think it was because I agree with Ryan when we first started watching it. It seemed like it was going to be really, really quick. And then
Oh, yeah.
I think
I
it
didn't
paced
mention
itself
that on
really
here.
well because
Yeah.
it got to the points that it needed to get to, and then it
That's-
came down, and then it came back up, and then it came down, and then it came back up, and it was one of those things where it actually flowed really well to where things made sense. They gave exposition where they needed to give exposition, and then they moved on.
And to
Yeah.
give clarity to what Zach's talking about in the car ride here to record, because we literally just saw the film
Yeah.
15 minutes ago.
It's still downloading into our brains. I still haven't gone and asked Reddit what to tell me to think about it.
Right. But to clarify what Zach is talking about in the car, I had said this film I was very worried in the first, I think it probably would have been the first 20 minutes of the film because the pacing is unbelievably quick.
Lightning quick.
Almost like I didn't have time to process everything in the beginning.
I think it
but
felt
once-
like that because almost all of the commercials were the first like 15 to 20 minutes
Yeah.
of the movie. It was
we
one of
kinda
those
knew
things
what the
where it
whole
was
first
like,
part was
it
gonna
was like,
cover.
oh man, like all this stuff is here now.
Well, yeah, because
It's
they were covering the fallout of Mysterio revealing his identity, and we knew that they had to cover that,
Right.
And we knew that he eventually goes to Doctor Strange and asks him for help.
But I'm very happy
And
to
they
say
just-
though that in the after the first 20 minutes of this film go by and we finally get like Doc Ock shows up, I feel like wow, then it really like
They
it
pump the
slows
brakes a little
down and it invests time into who it pulls over.
Yeah.
And what I was worried, I said I think a while back when we talked about this film coming out, I said I'm kind of worried about the idea of just bringing over these characters from a different universe because not everyone has had the exposure like the three of us have. I mean, there are kids coming in who have who've probably not really seen the Tobey Maguire stuff, or have definitely not seen the Amazing Spider-Man because nobody wants to show those films to anybody for some odd reason.
Did you notice our theater cheered louder for Andrew Garfield than it did for Tobey Maguire?
Yes,
I think at that point they already knew he was coming. So,
but did you notice the age range of who cheered?
Yeah, they definitely.
Yeah, people our age were the ones who you could like. People laughed and like started to clap when they saw Toby, but the people that like, there's a clear age range, which I told you before. Like, man, Tom Holland is not the Spider-Man for us; it's for kids younger.
Yeah.
And Andrew Garfield is the Spider-Man for the kids that were growing up at the same age we saw Toby. So like, that's what I like about these Spider-Men is like, they all three are a Spider-Man for a certain age range of kids that we were all like. I can understand when kids love Tom because I see the same thing spark that they see for Tom that I saw for Toby when I was that age. Because there literally seems to be a Spider-Man for a certain age, for an age demographic.
It's actually in the Bible.
It's in the Bible of
Brings
Spider-Man.
Yeah, the
There's
Bible. The
what
Bible says
verse?
there's
Please
a
tell me
Spider-Man
what
for
verse.
each person.
What verse?
Peter
Peter
3:25.
3:25.
is that
I'm
like
looking
a
at you
apartment
because you're.
number.
The Book of Peter.
Is 325 his apartment number in one of the films?
Because that would have been a hilarious joke.
That would have been really good.
I don't know. Pizza time.
We didn't get a pizza time either.
We didn't get a pizza time.
Dude, if there was, I can tell you the moment in that film where
that
pizza
would've been
time
great.
should have happened. When they're coming
During
together,
the chemical montage.
when they're trying to
Yep.
make the cures.
Oh, yes.
Is Peter got
delivery.
pizza for them,
Yeah,
and
the
he just puts
delivery.
pizza time, guys. Like
Pizza time.
Yeah.
that would have been
Yes.
the time to do it.
Missed
There was-
opportunity. There's a deleted scene with that somewhere.
They should have called us. They should have called us.
Really? Yeah, they
There's-
should have.
There's a handful of little things in this movie, and like my big thing, like I have a big thing with like motivations and little details in movies that like do have bigger implications,
Right.
and like little things like that make the movie. There were so many memes that they missed out on that they could have done, like. And it was weird because like they were super in tune with what everybody wanted, which was to have Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in this movie, and they did it. And like
Yeah.
they even picked up on the Willem Dafoe joke, like the meme,
Right.
but they
Yeah.
didn't pick up on a bunch of the other ones that they could have just been like, this one here, this one here, this one here.
Well,
and
they
it would
all
have made
have
sense within
They
the
all
movie.
have something in common. Well, yeah, no, they all have something in common. Is the person that helped put these films in production is the person that I insult and blame for why films suck. Is that they even put like a special thanks to
Yeah.
Avi, because without him, and I got to give it credit, Avi did this, but also like Kevin Feige was on the production team for all three Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and he had started working for Marvel when the Amazing Spider-Man. So like
Yeah.
there's a little bit of like an undertone thing, and this is the part about like actors that I think I love is Tom Holland at one point in this film, like he hugs the two Spider-Men, and I'm like, that was a real thing for him, because you got to think like if you
He grew up watching them.
yeah, like
Yeah.
he loved them. So when you see interviews with him talking like this is like one of the biggest thing, and there's something that happens in this film that I'll never like. At one point in an interview, he said that there was something that happens in this film that I will never forget, that will stick with me till in the rest of my acting career, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I guarantee it's when he hugs them and says thank you, because that's in a sense, in some way, Tom saying, thank you for
Well, for
what you've built me up to.
Also,
be.
keep in mind that Tobey Maguire's kind of badly injured and just got dumped somewhere in the multiverse.
yeah, that was one of the things where I think they could have done something better with it, and it's also one of those things where there are a handful of decisions where I feel like if you make a couple different changes, it completely changes the tone of the story.
Yeah.
Which is one, I do not like that Aunt May is the one that does the with great power comes great responsibility.
She got.
I hated that.
Why?
I don't understand why when you say with great power comes great responsibility, automatically means you have to die like 10 minutes later.
Well, yeah,
I don't
that was kind of
understand.
part of it. To be honest with you, I wish she would have said you didn't do the wrong thing. You were trying to help, and that should have been her point to this Spider-Man. And I think what could have been really nice is the two Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire show up to like effectively tell Tom Holland like, look, we get it. We know how you feel. You feel like you're responsible. Don't do what we did.
Right.
and go for vengeance. And they actually had a really good opportunity here to explain badly, kind of like do one of those like explain a plot badly to Tom Holland and be like, yeah, we are the reasons why, like, my uncle died and my girlfriend died and
Right.
like the people around us suffer and the reason why our villains are dead. But when they get to the end, when Tom Holland is just beating the ever living out of Willem Dafoe, he has the opportunity there.
He beats him into Willem Defriend.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe.
Well, when he takes the opportunity to kill him, Tobey Maguire should have stopped him, and then Tobey Maguire should have been the one to tell him, with great power comes great responsibility.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Okay.
I see.
And at that point, make it clear to him, like, we never meant to hurt the people that we killed.
I think I think I
And
have a
then
suggestion.
Tobey Maguire has to die.
I see.
Like, Tobey Maguire has to die there.
I have a suggestion that actually would maybe change or would fix the opinion, because I kind of agree with you in a way.
I feel like that. I
because
felt like that would have made it better.
I had a different expectation. So when I'm fine that she said it, but what I was expecting Peter's reply to back be like, "Oh, what Uncle Ben said." Because the thing I
Yeah.
like that like connects all this, that one thing it connects with all the Spider-Man is that Peter Parker's life is like terrible.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
why Peter Parker is so interesting to like why people love Spider-Man over most of the other MCU or most of the other Marvel characters is that one, Parker is the only superhero where Stan Lee said, I helped write him so that any person reading can put themselves in it. Anyone could have been bitten by the spider. And the one thing that connects all the Spider-Men from the different Spider-Verses in like the comics is the fact they all have an Uncle Ben, and it's, sometimes it is, a female character, but there is an Uncle Ben that connects them with, like, they all had an Uncle Ben that dies, and that's what helps them relate to each other. Where in this, it's more or less just the vengeance part that they relate to each other, which can work. It doesn't. I don't think it destroys the film. It's definitely.
Oh no, it doesn't destroy it, but it could make it that much better.
I agree with you that it kind of.
Well, and
it's my problem with the MCU Spider-Man is they've kind of like. They've never really. They only make one acknowledgement that there was a Ben Parker in a suitcase in the second Spider-Man film of the Tom Holland, the MCU version.
Has his name on it.
It has BPM or BMP or something like that on it. And it
Like
has his
BMP, like the file type.
No, it's like Ben. It's his initials on the suitcase. But like even with her with Aunt May, if also Aunt May dies.
Oh, Marissa Tomei gets God.
And Aunt May's tombstone, she only has a tombstone just has her name on it, where typically you have like a couple. That's the thing I never liked about
They also had
this.
a plant blocking what year it was.
I don't have
We
to.
know it was some point before 2100.
Right. I don't have to see Ben die. I don't mean I need to see that.
That's the one
but it's
theory
the one,
I wish would have been right that I had.
it's the one thing I like that connects them is that they all have one thing. They've all had a tragedy, and and from that tragedy spawns. There's two ways Parker could have gone, and he chooses to do the right thing. But
Yes.
unfortunately,
Even when
it's
Peter
never
isn't,
good.
even when Peter
exactly-
Parker isn't explicitly suffering, he's accidentally irradiating his girlfriend. So
Well, and
he really does suffer.
I think
That's a famous
I think that was kind of what I wanted for Tom Holland's Spider-Man, is Tom Holland to see himself sacrifice himself for the people that he's trying to save. And that's why I think that would have made it so much better. Is like, it's still Uncle Ben telling him that, but it's him watching an alternate version of himself that's already gone through this.
Right.
Look at him and say, "Hey, listen, it's still worth it.
Right.
Don't give into it." And there could have been a really cool line where Tom Holland, because he's supposed to be like the Spider-Man of Spider-Man, that
Right.
he when he's fighting Green Goblin, he should have looked at him and said, "I didn't tell them how I really felt because I knew that they would know what I was thinking," when he goes after him, and let them know that he always intended to kill Green Goblin.
See,
he
I
never
don't like. I don't
listened to
like
him.
that part because it breaks down Peter Parker as a character. And here's the thing that I
But
like.
only for a moment, just like every other Spider-Man.
What I really, really like that they've decided to do with this film, and I think is like they've changed to make Peter Parker what Peter Parker is. The one complaint that I have about Tom Holland's Spider-Man is that you okay? You like focusing on the lights.
Yes, I'm enjoying
It looks like you look like a moth. You're like, wow, look at those pretty lights. But no, sorry. But no, what I like is Peter Parker's life is not supposed to be good, but where Tom Holland's Spider-Man has always given me the one problem is he never has a consequence that really matters. The one small consequence from No Way Home, or not No Way Home, from Homecoming is his girlfriend, his first ever girlfriend, breaks up.
And Tony gets mad at him.
Yeah, and Tony gets mad at
moves
him,
away.
but then he gets a suit back anyway.
Yeah.
The second one, everyone finds out his identity, which is supposed to build into it, but there's not really like he doesn't have like a big loss or sacrifice in it. In this one, he does, which
He
is
loses
supposed,
everything.
Which is supposed to be like how this film ends. Is he has a apartment. You can bleep that out.
Oh, I can. You'll
Yeah.
let me do that. I
He has
appreciate that.
he has a crappy apartment. That feel
Yeah,
better.
that's better. Yeah.
Now cut that and paste that in over top of
No.
it.
And then it's going to make
Do
absolutely
the
no
work.
sense.
Do it.
No,
Okay.
you get the bleep. That's all you get.
Fine.
You get minimum effort for putting in minimum effort to not swear.
Ryan doesn't
I
swear
work
that much.
very hard.
I feel
Okay.
like I mess up the most.
Anyway,
I don't think you have not messed up on the show in a long time.
Oh,
Matt's
okay.
just attacking me.
I still
being a
love
good
you,
guy.
Ryan,
Don't
despite
touch
your
me.
failures.
Don't touch me. Anyway,
You're like a little real life Peter Parker, man.
don't say that. I don't want Robin to die.
No one say anything about Robin dying until you
If
did.
I'm a real life Peter Parker,
Just make if she starts saying with great power, you just
just
by
run
any
away.
means necessary, you stop her from saying
Stop.
that.
Don't
You
let
got a
her
lot of people you can pick. Just be like that.
What if he knows that trope and as she goes to say that he kills her to keep her from finishing it so she doesn't die? Wait.
I could hear like a second voice in your head. It's so weird. From how you were saying that, I could hear a second voice telling you like you're breaking your own logic. I could hear it. Like another thing being like, don't finish this.
It's like you,
Is that that was basically you saying it.
it's the moment.
But I didn't trust you to fill in the gaps. So
Anyway.
my own head did it.
Anyway, what I was trying to say about Peter is that his life is supposed to suck. He has a crappy apartment. He makes his own suits with like a crappy like
Sewing machine.
which in this he does. And we're getting the classic like costume. We're getting a classic costume. No more like black borders or tech
Iron
stuff.
Spider.
He's just
One of the things that I actually, and it is a serious question that I think that they're gonna have to correct, is when Happy shows up at the end with Tom Holland at the gravesite.
right.
He's like, "How do you know her?" And he goes, "Oh, I knew her through Spider-Man." And Happy looks at it and goes, "But it's May Parker. It was his aunt." It's like
I
how-
had the same
it's like-
problem.
it's just too much. It's one of those things where it's like it should have been.
He doesn't know who that
if
is.
Even if he gives a throwaway line where it's like, it was my girlfriend, and I can't remember how we met. Just something that makes it a little more consistent to where it's like I was with her and she died in my apartment complex with Spider-Man, but like. How did we meet? And like he could say something about how like I feel terrible. I can't remember how we met.
So I agree, because here's the thing that I think that this kind of is what Strangest Spell does is make people forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yes.
But so that means that the whole world still knows who Spider-Man is.
Yes, they just
and
don't know who he.
They still know that Spider-Man and the Thanos situation happened, which then breaks J. Jonah Jameson. And so remember how I
No,
said,
what his final spell did was made everyone forget who Peter Parker is
right,
as
Yes.
a person. They
Yes.
still know who Spider-Man is.
right.
They just don't know who they don't know that he's Peter Parker, and no one knows who Peter Parker is.
Right,
Yeah.
but,
Nobody.
that's the strange thing is, and where Zach is saying is like,
Yeah.
I get it.
So-
Strange thing.
yeah. Well, the strange thing is where Zach, like what Zach is saying is, okay, well, Happy knows he met May through Spider-Man,
Yeah.
but that breaks it. That breaks your thought process in saying, because like, well, wait a minute, technically, Happy didn't know May through
It
Spider-Man.
doesn't matter.
She knew May through Peter, because Tony introduced.
But he doesn't know Peter.
I understand
But
that,
yeah, but then
what
why
I'm
would he know that it was
why
for Spider-Man?
That's what I'm saying. So like, it breaks.
It's magic, guys.
I
You are
understand.
really overthinking it.
But,
I'm
but
just
no,
saying,
that's,
like,
that's
I'm-
why you need a little throwaway line.
Again, this is why I think this is a 2.
Why
to a
can't
2.
you guys just turn off your brains and enjoy
Bro,
movies?
this is why I think this film's a 2.5, because the rest of the 0.5 to 10 is me nitpicking, because that's
Well,
the
it's
truth.
things
is
that
all-
have bigger implications.
My only problem with this film is a bunch of nitpicks.
Well,
But it's boring for me to start a podcast where I tell you like everything was good. I love it.
Why?
Time to go home now.
Everyone likes a
actually,
sycophant.
Hold on. Think about this. If Happy makes a point to say, "Hey, this was my girlfriend, And you know what? I'll be honest with you, and it's terrible. And he can start to get a tear in his eye and say, I don't remember how we met. That's awful. Like, I was with this woman. I cared about this woman.
Why do you want
and I
people
can't
to
remember.
be sad?
But hold on.
Yeah,
on.
I think.
Hold on. And then Tom
This is
Tom
a common
Holland
thing with you.
But hold on, then Tom Holland can look at Happy and make a point to say, like, it doesn't matter how you met, it matters what you do once you meet. And that could give him the idea to go back to MJ. Because he gives MJ up.
Well, he
And it's
said
one of
he's
those
going to
things where
find
he
it.
could-
He already
he could
said he was
figure it
going to
out.
find her, though.
But yeah, but I think that's part of the thing where it's like, it could be Peter giving him genuine advice where it's like, it's okay if you don't remember who it is. It matters what you do when you find him.
Well, if you notice, there's a point when he talks to MJ when she already forgets who he is. You see it in her eyes. She feels there's something strange
there.
about. So, like,
Also,
it seems like the spell didn't actually
did his spell
work
like
the way.
erase all pictures of him, like
like in
Back to the
like
Future
the end
style,
of
or-
Harry Potter, where
or, yeah,
like
the end of Harry-
Hermione like erases her.
Well, and that's
did,
one of the
did it
weird
do that
things.
to all those? Like, I'm sure they had pictures on like Twitter or something of them.
Yeah.
Why do I have all these phone calls with a Peter Parker?
Well, and that's the thing that I'm a little confused on too, is like everyone remembers that all of those enemies were there, and like they don't have to know that they were from the multiverse because they didn't know that from the beginning. But it's like they all knew that they were there, and Spider-Man was there. But like, how did MIT look back and go, "Oh, why did we deny these two people?"
Yeah, see, that's
Like
the
that doesn't
problem.
make any
Also,
sense.
These are all like, I agree.
This is the problem with the multiverse
How
in
is the
general. That
Vulture
it's not
not
necessarily
out
the
now?
plan.
See, again, when
Because-
you forget Peter, you're also there's a lot of weird effects. So the thing is, like, okay, so the Vulture knows so the Vulture doesn't know who Peter is. That was like a big portion of like the thing. So okay, so he never knew Spider-Man dated his daughter. So he's probably really confused on
Why
that.
did we move?
He's like, yeah, why did they? Well, no, I guess never mind because he was still caught, so they would still move. The family still moved away. So never mind. That still makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you remember him after you die, or does this spell even erase you from God's memory? Or is Doctor Strange more powerful than God? Discuss.
Yes.
That's a good question. But no, yeah, I do
think
think
I
that
made it
there
very
is something
clear.
important there, though.
I think I
because-
made it very clear. I'm not completely happy with how this film ends, but I'm also thinking this is the only way it really could have ended.
Yeah.
With the
Yeah.
because the thing is, like, Spider-Man's identity cannot really be known, and he lives in the same world. For him to be the impact that Spider-Man is, for you to keep Spider-Man to the way,
Yeah.
like when he reveals himself in the comic books, like he does it because he thinks it's the best thing. Also, side note, I do like that there is a little bit of a nod with him, MJ forgetting who he is, to like another comic where Spider-Man makes a deal with the devil to bring Aunt May back to life.
Mephisto?
But
It's Mephisto.
Oh yeah, Mephisto.
Is it
The
Mephisto?
de-
Wait,
the
which character
devil.
was Mephisto in this movie?
Doctor Strange.
Okay. Oh, we got to talk about that too.
What part
Mephisto?
of Doctor Strange?
Where did he get the Eye of Agamotto from? Because he had it in the second half of the movie.
I don't know. Oh, it's another side tangent. I like the fact that the Brazil trailer showed us like why the lizard's head like just turns away, and of course we all were like, yeah, that's because there's another Spider-Man in it. But I like that how that happens. Do you see what happens?
Yeah, the kick is coming up and down. and then
Andrew
his head
Garfield
goes to the
literally
right.
does a front flip kick into his face. And
Just it goes sideways.
Yeah, it looks
it's
crazy.
so funny.
film's good.
You know, I think, yeah, and like, I do agree. The movie was great. There's a lot of good points. I think they did a really good job. I think I mentioned this on the car ride back, is with Andrew, because everyone kind of expected Andrew Garfield to save MJ there at the end.
Yeah.
And
well, that's what Matt
They did
and I called.
They did a really good job at, like, right before that. They're all sitting there waiting for everyone to show up, and he's like, "I was the worst Spider-Man." Like, he's like, he didn't get a chance to redeem his character.
Well, the problem
and
is he wasn't,
got that
though.
in this though.
Yeah, that's true. But that's the problem is he wasn't the worst Spider-Man. He was the worst Peter Parker. That's the thing is that was the problem with both of them. Like, Tobey Maguire was a great Peter Parker, but he wasn't a good Spider-Man that's the shared opinion with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Where it's the other way with Andrew Garfield, where with Tom Holland it's up in the air until now. Now I feel like he's probably earned both of those honors. I will say I do not like. There was a little bit of a. again, this is a nitpicky thing. I still love Andrew Garfield's character, and I kind of grew to like him. But I also kind of don't like the fact that he was pretty much like the moron like he's a brilliant dude. And at one point,
I think he was purposefully the moron, though.
That's the
like,
thing. He was
like it was like a play moron. It was like,
well, that's the thing is he was like the comic relief part of it, and like they kind of like made him a laughing stock with like his sadness. Like his depression of Gwen is just a huge laughing point for this. At one point he says I love you, and like both the other two Spider-Men are like, yeah, thanks, man.
I mean, I think they're playing Garfield as a very damaged Spider-Man.
Yeah, right.
Like he went through a lot of crap.
There was, and again, it was one of those throwaway lines where it's like you need to, even just another extra line or two makes a big point. Is like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man says like he was like, I put the mask back on and I did my best to be the Spider-Man I was, but then I stopped pulling my punches. Well, we never got to see him stop pulling his punches. What did he do?
He killed someone.
And that's what it is, but the question is, who did he kill?
I think I do believe it is his it's his Hobgoblin from his film.
And that's a possibility. But
I think
then,
it was
like I would have liked to seen that.
Hank?
Yeah, he was
Which one's
Hank.
Hank?
He killed.
Who's Hank?
He was that guy he killed.
Oh, it's just some random person.
It was a dude. He just killed a dude.
He's technically, if you follow the Amazing Spider-Man 2 video game, he kills Carnage. But that's
no, but that's fine. That's he should kill Carnage,
right?
But yeah, that was one of those things where it was like, even if it would have been one of the villains from his world, another one of his villains from his world showed up, and then it could have been like he could have showed up and been like, "You're the one I didn't hold back on."
I actually know what's my biggest annoyance from this whole film. That when I walked away, I was just like, "That's lame."
That she gave Ned a donut before she gave Peter a coffee.
No, well, I mean that's up there. Is the mid-credit scene, the cop out. We all they played us, man, because we get the end credit scene in Let There Be Carnage of Venom and they're gonna meet, they're gonna fight each other, and we get they get a cop out to give Spider-Man his black suit. They just decide, you know what, I got a better idea. Let's just make Venom still a comic relief. He's there at a bar getting drunk, and then he just gets put. Then Eddie Brock gets just sent away back to his universe, and there's just a black goop like that.
A little bit of Venom.
Hang on a sec here. You don't get to do that. No, Eddie Brock should have stayed. Venom and them should have stayed, and Tom and them should. He should,
because I think what they're going to do is that they're going to set it up to where like it looks like they corrected the multiverse, but I think Multiverse of Madness is going to reopen it and bring him back, and I think that's going to be the gag. It's like they brought him into the universe, take him out of the universe to bring him back into the universe.
But that's what I mean. But if the only way that Sony was like, we can bring the black suits.
I just want Tom Hardy back.
Yeah,
that's the thing is if the only way they're like, we can bring Tom Hardy or Venom in, or we can only get the black suit Spider-Man is by a stupid cop out of like, we'll tease the fans and they might fight.
Wait, what if the next Venom movie is him trying to find these people in his universe, like trying to find Tony Stark or find
that'd be
Peter
hilarious.
Parker?
That'd actually be really funny. He just starts going around meeting Peter Parker's like in a phone book and goes to their addresses.
Maybe he finds some of them that he discovers that some of the Avengers are there. They just the catalyst
they just never became.
Yeah, like Bruce Banner is still running around in Brazil or Guatemala or whatever he is.
It would be.
I think you're onto something though, that it's all going to break open. It's just they're all going to be together.
There is one theory that I wish we would have seen in this one of mine that didn't come true, and I just wanted the Uncle Ben montage.
Yeah.
They didn't give me my Sinister
2.5 hours of Uncle Ben dying. Uncle Bens.
I just wanted like a moment where there would be like a bunch of them where it's like there's nothing we could have done. It just goes from like Uncle Ben to Uncle Ben. Just a bunch of old white guys dying over and over again.
They gave me.
There never were 6 of them, were there?
No,
we were so close to a Sinister 6 movie.
I was wrong. I thought the Kingpin was going to be and Daredevil was going to show up, but I was wrong.
Well,
also
they had a lot of characters to juggle already.
You're going to end up with a Sinister 6 because they're going to
you're
have.
Not.
They've already confirmed there's going to be 3 more movies.
Yeah,
I think what they're teasing is that there will be a Sinister 6.
But this is the Sinister 6 movie I want.
The next, I know.
The formula for here
not the one you deserve.
This is the one I've wanted.
Trust.
All you had to do was put one more villain in there.
They'll be back.
Put Kraven. Who cares? Don't even explain why they're there. Or how about this? Put like
Prowler.
I don't know. Yeah, like put somebody that is so like, or screw it, bring the Vulture back. Oh,
Yeah.
he broke out of jail. That's so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you'd have one
don't-
from every.
They killed it. They killed it. They killed.
Well-
I mean, it was a good film. It's just
I do have a question here, real
I
quick.
wanted something and they didn't give it to me.
When Ned pulls Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, were they pulled into our universe and Ned found them in our universe? Because
Yeah.
I'm pretty
they-
sure that's what happened.
Yeah,
but,
they express-
Or did
they
he
say that.
actually? Okay, good.
Yeah. Andrew,
Also, that means that MJ and Gwen Stacy are both there somewhere. Like Tobey Maguire's
Potentially.
MJ.
yeah,
because they both know
potentially.
who he is.
Well, that's the thing. Well, potentially, but also they might not be because now they're all sent back to their universes at the end.
yeah,
of
I
it.
guess. Strange that some people squeezed through.
I think what the problem is they couldn't is both Kirsten Dunst and now Emma Stone were like, I don't have time to do this.
Well,
I'm not
Emma-
coming back to
Em-
die again.
Emma Stone had the perfect opportunity. If they could have gotten Emma Stone to come in, it could have been a quick thing where Andrew Garfield looks at Emma Stone and goes, like he just like loses it.
yeah,
And it turns out that she's Spider-Gwen, and he's just like, "What is going on?"
I
And that
did.
could be your catalyst for the next
that would be
movie, where he wants to reopen the multiverse so he can go be with Spider-Gwen.
I mean, that's why we're getting across the Spider-Verse is because Spider-Man 2099 wants to open the universe.
yeah?
And also, as we find out, as you can see from the trailer, like Spider-Gwen has a thing on her wrist that allows her to jump
them.
between universes.
Well, and that's kind of what I was looking at is like, if you can do that, you can bring in Miles Morales and you can bring him from the Spider-Verse, and then you bring all of these different Spider-Men together into a
And
final
women.
Sinister Six, knowing that you've got Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland. You could have Emma Stone come back. I don't know if you could have the lady that played MJ, but
Right. So we've
Spider-Man Endgame.
yeah, then you would have Spider-Man
Oof.
Endgame.
can't. So we've talked a lot about random stuff that happens, but
Can we
should-
just take a moment and appreciate that at no point when they were comparing the two different MJs did they mention that Tobey Maguire's MJ is white?
Yeah, it's fine. It's not necessary. That's why they did.
Yeah, I just appreciate the restraint.
That probably was one of the best jokes, though, was Jamie Foxx just looking up at Spider-Man going, man, I thought you were the coolest thing. I just wish you would have been black.
I thought
It's just like, just wait until
he's like,
he
"I'm sorry."
sees.
it's like that's okay. It's probably a black Spider-Man, but before
Yeah.
because we're getting
That
to-
was your Miles
we're-
Morales
We're getting to the end.
hit.
So we should definitely like both of you give me a short synopsis. It's very clear that Sandman and Lizard were the low end of this. Like they were not a big deal.
I actually
In
like
fact,
Sandman's.
I just
arc.
don't think either of them had any particular animosity towards
right.
Spider-Man.
Well, they don't have the arc compared to the main three.
Yeah.
I think
Ock,
Lizard was
Goblin.
bad. I think Sandman was good.
Well, I clearly knew that Lizard was not a big deal because all they did was take the scene from The Amazing Spider-Man when he turns back into his human form and then just airbrush out the background to put him in that's what that was. That was not the same.
No.
That was literally like a green screen copy and paste from the old.
That's
film.
funny.
But Ock, Goblin, and Electro, what do you think? What do you think about one? Electro's not blue anymore, and how they explain that. You know what?
Electricity works differently here.
Right.
They use different electricity.
Okay. So
I-
how do you feel about the arc that
kinda-
these characters go? Those
Arc,
three
I
go.
like
I
Electro,
kind of
like-
like what
that
they-
wasn't on purpose, but yes.
I kind of like what they
You should
did
have taken credit
because
for it.
Jamie Foxx makes a good point. He goes, "I like who I am in this universe," and like even Lizard looks over and goes, "Oh, what happened to your like the way you used to look? Because you used to look like a dork, effectively." And he was in like he kind
With
of
a comb over and bad teeth.
yeah, and he kind of made the point like when I came into this universe, I changed. Like, which is kind of neat, where it's one of those things where it's like you still get to be you, but you might not everything comes over.
Yeah.
Which I thought was actually a pretty good line because that gives you some leeway whenever you start to recast and put them in place to place, especially if you're going to do these multiverses, especially if you do something like Into the Spider-Verse. If you want to throw these villains into there, you can change the way they look there, and then you'd be like, oh, I do look different here, and you can keep their style because you're going into their universe and you have to adapt to their style.
Right. So Goblin, what did you think of Goblin's?
I think Defoe was great.
Yeah.
You think
they
Goblin?
did a great job de-aging him.
Okay.
And he did a great job of playing the two different people at the same time,
Yeah.
Right. Well, I
which
mean,
was phenomenal.
He killed it.
I wish we got a mirror thing. That's all. So
It's okay.
okay. And what about Ock? What about his arc and story?
I called it.
A+. Love him.
What
He's my
did
favorite
you
villain.
love about it?
Everything.
Oh my god. Okay. Well, I'll do this. Fine. I'll do it myself.
Okay. I do.
So
His
first of
robot
all,
arms are really dope.
first of all, I like that.
Zach had a thought, I think, about it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
No, go ahead. Go Zach.
No, I talked a lot
Zach,
already.
Zach, do it.
Okay.
Talk.
I like that they did get one of the Sinister Six like corrected like immediately, and it was one of those things where it showed that like Tom might actually be able to make this happen. Or Spider-Man might actually be able to make this happen. And like he buys in directly. He's like, wow. It was like the AI aren't coming after me. He's like, hey guys, like it does matter. You don't have to keep going the route you were going. And it really brings kind of back to that, instead of Otto sacrificing himself, he now chooses again to be, because it's kind of the same deal. It's like he gets control back and goes, okay, I actually am a good person. This chip is the thing that messed me up. But with his contrast, the thing that makes his character better is Jamie Foxx's Electro, who doesn't care. Like he wants the power to keep the power now that he's got it. And you get to see the two contrasts. And I think that makes Otto even better because Otto chooses to be good as soon as he's able to get out of the grips of the tentacles.
Right. So,
Yeah.
what do you think about Jamie Foxx's like massive quick turn the moment that he doesn't have any power anymore? He's just like, oh, okay, well, I'm a good guy now.
Well,
I felt
I didn't like that. I wish it would have been more of a like, all right, like I lost. It is what it is.
It
Easy
felt
come,
like
easy go.
it was so quick of a turn. He's just like, I have so much power.
But
And
I
then
think
Doc shows up
From
and
his
pulls
perspective, he only had that power for a couple days at that point, right?
right. But instead,
Yeah.
Ock pulls his like power, that the Stark reactor off of him, and then he's just like, all right, I'm a good guy
out.
now. Like, it's cool. We're fine.
I think it's more that he
Well,
just knew he couldn't do
surrendering.
anything anymore.
Yeah, and they could have played it like that better. Like they could have played it as more of a surrender where he goes, "Yeah, Spider-Man, you got me." Like,
I
my
think-
powers are out. There's nothing I can do.
No, I think
Like,
what they were trying to do is they were trying to say is that like all that power was poisoning him, and then as soon as it was taken away, he was like cured of.
Yeah, the idea that
no,
power
I see
corrupts.
what I see what
Yeah.
the power
Yeah.
corruption thing.
So does you think that means that in Tobey Maguire's now split universe, Harry Osborn got to watch his father pass peacefully in his sleep, and him and Toby became friends forever for the rest of all time?
That's what I'm saying. I wish at the end it showed us like where are they now segments in some sort
Yeah.
of way, and like
This would have been would have been a film that would have been great with no end credit scene, and it just would have been little montages of like everybody back in their universe and how it changed because of what happened in these events.
yeah, because really what it didn't really. I mean, now we know that okay, they don't die anymore. Like all that stuff doesn't happen, but also, well, what happens now? Because does Electro just like come out of the thing of eels and be like, guys, I'm better, and then Osborn was like, cool, get back to work.
Yeah.
Does Oscorp still lose? It's weird because now I care. I want to know. It's like, oh, well,
So-
Otto lost Rosie. Is he going to try to get the arms off now? Or is he going to, is this just,
Well, I would have loved to seen each one be tailored to what they did. So kind of playing in what they did with Endgame, they could keep with that. So Tobey Maguire goes back where everything happened the way that it happened. But you see Tobey Maguire being okay with it. Well, I still think Tobey Maguire should have just died. But like Tobey Maguire goes back and lives knowing that he got to be the influence that Uncle Ben was in on him.
right.
Andrew Garfield gets to go back and be Spider-Man again and not have to worry about not pulling his punches anymore. And then you can go back into each individual villain where Otto goes back with the arc reactor. And then you could have a younger Tobey Maguire helping him, working on it. And then that changes his timeline. You could have Electro when he gets out. I think your idea was perfect. Tell him to get back to work, him look down at the tank and jump back in the tank. Like him saying, screw it, I choose to be a villain. And then you could go back to Willem Dafoe where he chooses to be a good father to Harry and changes that timeline again with another younger Tobey Maguire. And
That's
then
a
the same
very-
thing with the lizard.
I don't
Like,
know why, but I feel like there's a
super
thought,
cool.
There's a thought process there that's very strange, and I don't understand.
It's don't think about it too much because now you're getting into the stuff where multiverses are
no,
a
there's
pain
just
in the butt.
the
That
thought.
would have been really cool.
The thought process I don't quite understand is why is Jamie Foxx go get back to work, and he's just like, all right, I'll just be a villain then.
I think Zach's just conflating Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Django Unchained.
Well, in the amazing in Amazing Spider-Man 2, like Jamie Foxx is like a loser up until then. He makes that point to Andrew Garfield. It's like, you didn't even notice me. So when he gets back out and he goes like I used to have this power, and then they treat him like a loser again, he should just look down at it and say, you know what, I'll do it anyway. And then it kind of it gives this like I feel like it gives it this.
Yeah, but then the whole point of what the three Spider-Men were doing doesn't happen then, because he's not redeemed. That's the whole point.
But that's the point.
End
Jamie Foxx's character never was redeemed.
Okay, but
he
why?
gave up not because he was good, but because he couldn't win.
Seems like a good enough reason to me.
And I think that's the point. It's like Otto was
I don't
evil
think that
because
I don't
the
think
AI.
that's the point that the movie was trying. I'm saying that's the point that I think what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, and that's why I think it was so quick. But that's not what actually happened. What actually happened is he was cured and he was redeemed. See, you're taking what I said was like, it's very strange how quickly he turned.
Yeah.
But I don't think he actually just turned because like, well, I lost my powers, so we're friends now. Don't hit me. Like, that's not what it is. I think really he did redeem. I'm just saying it was just the way
he
it
was always on the fence. It was Goblin that pushed him over the edge at the apartment.
Right. That's the other thing. Like, everyone really just kind of changes their.
I feel like he was just waiting for the moment.
But I'm thinking that's the right.
Sandman just got out of Dodge.
That's my point of the writing hole, is that they wrote themselves in a hole with some like Sandman being there. Everything about Sandman fighting Spider-Man made no real sense, other than the fact that like, oh yeah, I might die.
Well,
but he also knows he also knows he doesn't die.
Well, no, Sandman was just trying to get back to his daughter. It's still his same motivation.
And no one ever tells him that he doesn't die.
That's
well, he knows it.
That's what I loved about Sandman's character, is Sandman truly was indifferent, and he wasn't a bad guy, but it was one of those things where he was like, I need to get back, and you don't care about getting me back. You care about saving these people, and I don't care about that. I care about my daughter.
I completely disagree. Did we
watch the same movie?
Yes. And Sandman throughout the whole film, like, he's just there waiting for his time to go. All the villains then do their thing, so he's just like, all right, I guess I'll be a villain too.
Well, no, when he shows up, he grabs Spider-Man. He goes, I don't care what you're doing. And that's the point that he's making. He goes, I'm not with these guys. I want to go back to my daughter. That's the thing that he's saying there. And that's what I like about his character. He's completely indifferent.
So then fighting and killing Spider-Man is how he's going to get back to his...
He never implies he wants to kill him.
Yeah, he never implied... He never... I mean, they're...
Then why is he there?
Because he's trying to get back. He's trying to get to the cube so he can go home. He wants to go to his daughter. That was his entire motivation, which I think is consistent with the third movie.
But that is never made clear, in my opinion, I guess. But
yeah,
I thought it was made clear when he grabs him and Spider-Man says, "Hey, I can help you guys. I just need to do." And he goes, "I don't care."
Yeah.
He's like, "I don't care about you helping them. I care about getting home to my daughter." Yes,
where Spider-Man had already done that once, where he postponed it.
Yes,
and Sandman's like, "No, I just want to go home."
Which is why I would love to see him go back to his daughter in his end credit scene, and that was always his motivation.
I don't think he was actually in the movie either. I think that was CG stuff. Tomfoolery.
But yeah, I think and that's kind of
that's why he was in a sand form the whole movie.
You mean Flip Mark?
But that's why
I agree.
That's why I picked those end credit what I would call end credit scenes for each individual villain, because each individual villain had a different reason for why they were doing it. Like Willem Dafoe was schizophrenic effectively,
right,
and so was Otto. So effectively, they both end up in the same position.
In a weird film,
but everybody else had their own reason. Like Lizard, I don't quite know what to do with Lizard though, because Lizard was easily the worst one.
Well, that's what I mean. Him and Sandman, like Lizard and Sandman, were the characters that they didn't put a lot of effort into like doing their thing. But obviously, again, you can't, because it's a 2.5 hour long movie. It's already as long as people are willing to probably sit and watch for a Spider-Man film.
My butt was starting to hurt toward the end,
and there's a lot of that happens. So like.
Actually, I think that would have been it actually probably would have been a good balance with that end credit scene, because you could have had Lizard still trying to find a way to become back to the Lizard. And then that way you have two villains that didn't actually choose to go the right way, and then you have two that did, and then the one that was indifferent was indifferent.
Really says something about them.
Have a balance.
They're both in Andrew Garfield's universe.
Yeah, no, right.
That would choose to go back.
They don't care.
In your head.
Well, then that just leaves Andrew Garfield with just being a sad, depressed Spider-Man, continuing, because he gets to see they then get a second chance.
All of them are supposed to be sad, depressed. That's the point.
I thought they were supposed to be happy in the face of everything.
Well,
no, they're like their life is sad.
There's layers of depression. It's like Tobey Maguire's depression is like,
but you've never actually been depressed, my friend. Okay, listen, we're at the end of it. We got to stop. We can't keep this up.
Yeah, Peter Parker must suffer. and
I
we'll
guess-
expect to see that in the next Spider-Man.
So I guess we can all just agree that this film is pretty good. It has its own like nitpicky problems,
It was
but
great.
it's a
It was a lot of fun.
pretty good
I highly
film.
recommend it.
out of the MCU. Do you think it's one of the best, or is
Yes,
it
because it has Mr. Steel Long Arm Man.
Steel Long Arm Man?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking Steel Stretch Armstrong.
Oh, real quick, I like the fact that they destroy the Goblin mask because everyone realizes that Willem Dafoe already looks like a goblin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we should end this.
Okay.
I want to go to bed.
Pop culture unboxing, social media. Me, Matt Ross via Twitter.
I am Little Leaf, Lief. Don't forget that underscore. I am not a middle-aged Brazilian woman.
You're not gonna follow anyway, so I'm not even gonna do it.
Thank you all for listening. Bye. I love you.
Bye.
Have fun.